room that we was eating, we had all the food today. That was my room. It was coming to school, but we only had 2 rooms. It was coming to the different and on the side. And we had up to the 7th grade, but we didn't have really all the books for that. So we was 4 in the class. And we had 3 classes, different classes in my room. But those days, they didn't want the Houma to get too much an education.
The education, like I said, it was afforded to us, but the quality of it, as I talked to Mr. Joe today, was a whole lot different. They really didn't teach him a whole lot. Like he said, when he was in 7th grade, he didn't even have his 7th grade books. So he made it to 7th grade, but no literature, no nothing. So that was all he progressed to, And my children, well, they graduated, and they had the opportunity to go to college. Whereas now, the industry is, even locally, even if where we work at now, back in the days when I was coming up, you really didn't need a high school education. If you had 8th grade, you could read and write. It was suffice. You could get a job with that. Now, a high school education, I guess, and not to degrade or demean anything, you used to be able to work on a sanitation truck. We put it that way to be polite. But now, to even work on on a truck like that, of that nature, they require that you have at least a high school diploma or a GED or even better. So, the grades, the grade and the schools, they need to, you have to have it. And if you don't have a college education, you're not going to get a good job this day and age.
Well, of course, in my generation, we didn't have to suffer through what they suffered through, but I've heard the stories from my parents and my grandparents, and sat down with my grandfather and talk about how it was with the Indian school and Dulac, which is very similar to the one right here that we're sitting in front of. And to me personally, that's why I find it very important for us and our generation to take education seriously, because of what they went through and how they was denied to go further than, a middle school education. It's something that we need to take important, because they struggled for that. They wanted to that. My grandfather used to tell me how they got in the Hero to go to school, and then they had to walk so many for just to go, and they weren't forced to go. If they came, they came. If they didn't, they didn't, but they wanted to go. And listening to him and tell me, they wanted that education. They wanted, even though they couldn't go that far, and they mostly worked, they had to work to support, even at a young age. That makes it more important to me to pass that on to my kids, because our grandparents fought for an education just like they did here after the segregation laws, and they were still denied after, and they had to go do a court case and so that's why I feel like, it's important, and it's bringing awareness here and bringing back the community to here, the ones that went to school here, and seeing it's still here, and, the same with all the Indian schools, it's our legacy. I didn't go here personally, and I wasn't in a segregation school, but, that's our legacy, where we come from, and it's important of all ages to know that.